Good morning. It's 9:03 on a Friday. You may be confused, as I am kind of confused. After Christmas, before New Year's, there is a weird segment of time that happens every year where calories don't count. Nutrition just gets thrown out the window, and things that you wouldn't dream of doing, or sleeping all day like me. A lot of people are off work, and today we're bringing Kickstart back. But I'm going to see if I can get a hold on reality and grab onto Dr. Aaron Chapa as he grips me back from the pits of desserts and candy and puts me back on solid ground. Let's throw this on the FM. Feel free to share this out. It's going to be a beautiful Friday. It's post-Christmas, pre-New Year's. Let's have some fun. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's 9:04 on a Friday. And KHEA Kickstart, we're back. Merry Christmas. Dr. Chapa, how was your Christmas?
My Christmas was fantastic. The kids had an absolute delightful time. And, I love this time of year. We talked about it on Tuesday. And Christmas is just a fantastic season. I always am sad to see it go.
Yeah.
And I know it's not, it's still technically, but it's over. It's done. My wife, I don't know about yours, but she is, already bundled up the house. The yard's going to get, torn apart today, and it doesn't last long. And then we've got New Year's next week, and then it's game time. I can't believe it's, we're going into the second score of the new millennium.
Yeah. We're probably tripping people out. I mentioned before we went on the FM that time almost doesn't exist. People are off work, the kids are off school.
Yes.
What's going on? What day is it? Christmas was in the middle of the week, but it feels like the weekend, and we're probably tripping people out because they think it's Tuesday.
Again.
You're normally in on Tuesday, right?
Christmas Eve again. On Tuesday.
Yes, and we had a great time.
That's right. And here we are again on Friday. Yeah, we just felt like, if we could, continue to help people understand, no matter where you're at, what you're dealing with, and all life starts and stops at the cellular level, and nutrition is the fundamental backbone that allows your body to spiral out of control or to get traction and move forward. People are still, unfortunately, catching colds and getting sick, and what I have observed this holiday, month and through Thanksgiving, people that are getting sick with allergies or head colds or congestion of any type, it's from their diet slowing down their bowels. When their digestive tract is slow, everything clogs up, backs up into the system. So, what I thought we could talk about today is just other barriers to healing that prevent people from getting well. People don't realize that even though the calories seemingly don't count right now, they do, and even though all the desserts still look really good, which they do look really good, they can still take a negative effect. And I find too often that we just throw the whole month of December and Thanksgiving out the window. And so this year I've been on a mission to help people not throw the baby out the bathwater and make good choices throughout the month, even though they're going to give in on the actual day. Like New Year's is the next big day. And so, people just need to know that we've got still a few days between now and New Year's. Let's make these next few days count and not just eat whatever, whenever, however. And let's observe that our body needs nourishment as well as treats, but more nourishment than treats.
Yeah, traditionally, what does your family do for New Year's? Whenever I got married, I found out there's a traditional meal. Like people eat black-eyed peas.
And cabbage.
And I didn't know if that was a Caucasian thing, myself being from Hispanic descent. I had never done that before. And so my wife, she's white. And I remember it was like, hey, we're going to go over to my parents' house. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I'm like, what? What's going on here? And I was like, this is weird. It was weird to me because it was new.
Yeah.
And now I understand that. Is that something that your family does?
That is what my family does. It is definitely cabbage and black-eyed peas. But although the last few years I just eat the cabbage, I'm not really a big black-eyed pea guy.
Yeah.
And I might have a bite just for the sake of good luck.
Tradition. Yeah, we need it. 2020.
And especially. And, but there is traditions that people follow. And that's why it's really hard. It's just like, what I'm really out to do right now is educate people to constantly be aware of what they're putting in their body as a fuel source, because it's either fueling you towards disease or it's fueling you towards vitality and allowing your body to perform at the level you want it to. So I always like to say, if you've got symptom patterns that you weren't genetically born with, that could be anxiety, that could be headaches, that could be blood pressure issues, that could be I had just the other day, a little child on Christmas Day have some challenges with blood sugar and temperament changes and mood, and they were really concerned. The blood sugar was extraordinarily low, and they weren't sure if they were having some sort of diabetic issue. And knowing the case, I'm like, no, what has she been eating? And she's, of course, been eating all the holiday party foods, and those holiday party foods are setting in. It changed her mood. It changed her behavior. It changed her blood sugar. And so it will take approximately 72 hours, 3 days to get her body to kind of curve back around. And she wasn't in a crisis that warranted ER support, so to speak. It was a biochemical change. I mean, your body is a giant chemistry set, and everything you do to it, whether it's water, whether it's drink, whether it's food, your body is going to have an effect biochemically. And we have to be mindful of the symptom patterns. And people don't realize, they've tried all kinds of different things to feel good because they want to feel good, but they just can't get their fingers or head wrapped around what to do consistently enough to stay well and feel well all the time.
Yeah, you mentioned our bodies being a chemistry set. You add something to it, it's going to have a response. You take something out, it may lack a response or add a response depending on what it is. So it's almost a trial and error. And I know you'd mentioned one of the first times we'd ever talked that whenever, like a doctor, it's their practice.
Right.
It's a practice. You have to practice every day.
And your body, every 10 years, every decade, it changes. So, I mean, we're going into a new decade for some. And, and this is, I always just help people realize, I mean, what you do today is going to affect the next 5, 10, 15 years of your life. And so, I like this morning when I was at the gym, I got to thinking about like all the different factors that prevent people from getting the results they want out of their healthcare. And so I thought we could talk about some of the things that what I would say the top 5 things that people I see as a barrier to healing that prevent people from getting well. And the first one is very simple. It's food allergies. Wheat, dairy, corn, soy. If you're consuming these, which this time of year is very prevalent, you're inflaming your digestive tract. I had a gal come in on Monday, and she had been to see several other people, but she came in early because she was experiencing belly pain and gut pain, and I helped her understand. Look, if we don't get these food allergies under control, I'm just going to be another statistic of person you've seen and not get you well, and I don't want to be that for you. I really want to push you and challenge you to like make this change. And I know it's the holiday, but remember, you pushed to get in. So let's take advantage of the fact that we got the next 2 weeks, and let's do an experiment. And so you can do the most cost-effective, best test to do for food allergies is a 2-week elimination diet. Mm-hmm. We eliminate the foods out of your diet: wheat, dairy, corn, soy. Why those? Because those are the top 4 most common food allergies: wheat, dairy, corn, and soy, that people are experiencing today. Whether they realize it or not, wheat, dairy, corn, and soy are inflaming your gut lining and congesting your liver and congesting your lymphatics and creating all those nasty symptoms like drippy down the back of your throat, headaches, migraines, hormonal dysregulation, skin rashes, breathing issues. It is, amazing how often I see people dealing with problems that no one else could fix, and it came down to these 4 foods.
Mm-hmm.
And so we always talk to these 4 foods because they have such an impact on people. And so we come in and we want to support that barrier to healing by, 1, helping you recognize in 2-week window of getting off the substance. If you put it back in, all of a sudden your body will have a response. I've seen people blood pressure spike. I've seen blood sugars drop. I've seen anxiety kick in. I've seen sleep insomnia issues, come back just by putting the product back inside of minutes to hours to 3 days. And so we look at a 3-day window, and this is why food allergy conversations are so tough, because it does reflect what the way you feel today could be something from the last 3 days. And so knowing that the average American has 10 to 15 meals caked up inside of them, more than likely the average American, that is what makes food allergy work so challenging. But if you become the private eye detective, if you become the sleuth, if you just write down what you eat on the regular, what you drink on the regular, you'll start noticing patterns. And those patterns, when under supervision of Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, what we do all the time, help people see these patterns of symptoms pop up in relation to whatever they're doing in their lifestyle. I mean, it's hands down a very obvious change that they can control. And if you can name a thing, you can control a thing. And that's why we help people see it on paper. So food allergy is probably the number one most critical place to start, because all life starts and stops at the cellular level. And nutrition is this fundamental backbone that allows your body to get traction and move forward, or to get stuck, stagnant, and start slipping down the slippery slope to disease.
Yeah, which is easy to do during this time of the year. One of the things that I got as a Christmas gift this year, and you're really going to like this, and I'm really going to like it too, and I'm going to use it probably as soon as next week, was a gift card to Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. My dad got some gift cards to Living Well Clinical to your office.
Tell him he's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, my sister, she got them as gifts, and my dad was like, "No, I can go get my supplements." My sister gave those out as gifts. She gave me one, and some to my dad, and probably some to some other people as well too.
Well, I'll tell you one of my favorite gifts that I got that was not, I didn't even know existed. I'm a some guys are tool guys and garage guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a kitchen tool guy. I love kitchen gadgets and gizmos and stuff like that. And my mother-in-law got me and my wife it's like an Insta oven. So I have an Insta pot, right? And I use that pretty regularly. But she got us this Insta oven, and it literally is an easy bake oven for adults.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? And it does everything from air frying, so the kids could like put some gluten-free chicken nuggets in the air fryer and let it rip, or it's I can do a rotisserie chicken in there. I mean, this thing can do all kinds of cool stuff. And
I'm Googling this.
I mean, it's like, I don't know.
Oven.
You just type in Insta oven,
okay,
and it should pop up. But it's got the same logo as the Instapot people.
So it's the same line.
It's the same line and everything.
That's awesome.
And I was like, I can't wait to use it. So my wife got it out of the box yesterday. It's under the counter, and I'm like, I want to go home and play with it and cook something.
Oh, that's cool. Pick up today. Available.
And so
is that it?
And
right there.
That's not exactly the one. But I mean,
that's probably a line.
But I mean, anyway, it's probably similar. And but we're gonna give it a shot, and I'll talk to you more about it as the time goes, because convenience is a big thing. Especially when you're doing meal prepping and trying to figure out what to put in your family's food base. Having convenience and tools that make life easy. The Instapot's great. Like, we found that crock-pot meals aren't something that our family really it loves. It's all kind of blended together, and it kind of tastes all the same. And I like it. I mean, I'll eat it cold. But I'm me. I do
pot roast.
Yeah. And
doesn't matter. Cold,
hot.
Let's go.
Yeah, whatever. But finding the variety that your family will gravitate to, you've got to be willing to try new stuff and get in there. So, food testing and food elimination and food logging are a big part of helping a person get from point A to point B. The second barrier to healing, again, we're talking about 5 barriers to healing that kind of prevent people from getting well, is infections. And the infections that people are exposed to when the weather is up and down and all around, and the seasonal shifts and changes and the winds bring in new, different, disease processes that our body is exposed to. And so we're always observing, and this one is a big conversation because it's not as simple as just infection. It could be bacteria, which could be staph or strep or some kind of mutated, bacterium that is now a stealth pathogen that people are dealing with. And so we have to do such strategic functional blood chemistry looks, where we look at the blood chemistry with a different set of lenses to see what kind of inflammatory or immune cascades are going on. We've got to look at different reflexes in and around the body to figure out if the body's expressing these different patterns of infection that are bacterial based. And we do all this stuff at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. We look at this thing and we see, okay, if it's not a bacteria, what else could it be? Well, it could be yeast overgrowth. I mean, you can simply do, if you've got skin issues, oily skin, if you've got white coating on your tongue, if you look at your tongue and you have like a deep ravine down the center of the tongue, or the tongue looks just irritable, your digestive tract is irritable, and that's an overgrowth of yeast.
When you said that, I was tempted to stick my tongue out and look on the camera, but what if it doesn't look the way that it's supposed to, and then I'm going to be...
Well, that's just one more reason you got to spend that gift card,
Okay.
And we can help you with that. And
Okay.
so it's always, there's always a work in progress. Remember, everything that we do is a work in progress. It didn't look too bad. A little pale, but a little scalloped around the ridges there. That scallop, hey, you can roll your tongue. That's pretty cool. that scalloping is a swelling where your body's actually pushing toxins out of the tongue. And your tongue is a mirror of what's inside your digestive tract. So
Wow.
the more disruptive and irritable your tongue is, like there's things called geographic tongue. It's where it looks literally like the world you map from an aerial space view. You can see continents on your tongue of yeast overgrowth, and or if you see these furry yeasty tongues, this is yeast overgrowth in the body. And a lot of these patients are fatigued and tired. They can't get out of bed in the morning, and they just feel like every time they eat they get bloated, and they feel like they're having to like do the whole belt loop, or unbutton the top button to let time settle. That's an indication that you've got yeast overgrowth. And that yeast overgrowth can be addressed through diet and through herbal killing off of yeast, which has to be done. You have to do both. It's not as simple as take this pill. It's take this pill and, kill off and starve out the yeast.
I got a question about the tongue. I see this post that pops up on my social media feed, and now that I mentioned it, everybody that's watching is going to pop up on their Facebook as well. And if you're listening on 99.5 FM, from your phone or from your radio, it's going to pop up on your phone. But there's this ad, and it's like a tongue scraper. And they take, and it looks like a V, and they're like, oh, yeah, this helps your dental hygiene. It gets all this stuff, and it looks so gross, the stuff it scrapes off. What is it scraping off?
It's yeast colonies.
It is?
I mean, yeah, so if when I look at people's tongue, the little white dots that appear just to be like taste buds of sorts, as little yeast colonies. I mean, I look at them like little anthills, and the more you have, you can scrape them off, but the reality is you can't
fix
scrape
the root?
because remember, it's a mirror image of your lower GI or your small intestine, large intestine. And so we know that if there's yeast on the tongue and there's irritability in the tongue is if you ever go in history, when they would look by animals, for example, they always looked at the gums, the teeth, and the tongue of the animal because it shows a lot of the internal health of the creature. And so yeast is a big player today because we eat so much carbohydrate-based foods, which feeds yeast. We drink too much sugary drink that converts that then feeds the yeast, and our diet is just not nutritionally dense enough of nutrients to ward off an attack of yeast overgrowth. So we are constantly needing to do gut work. I mean, I could literally blindfold throw a dart and if at a target of health, the axe.
Axe Master's over there. He pointed
at.
you can't see it on the camera, but he pointed at our axe throwing target over there.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It's cool, and if GI was the target, I mean, I could make it as big as I wanted because if I hit the target in your GI tract is a conversation piece that we're going to have, there's no doubt that we're going to make a dent in your overall well-being. I mean, because I have seen everything from anxiety disorders to just simple belly pain to skin rashes to all come back to gut issues. And the digestive tract is one of your first lines of defense. It's your floating immune system. It is a key ingredient in overall health and well-being. So looking at are we inflaming the diet, the gut lining with our food intake, or is there a pathogen, bacteria or a yeast in this case, that's inflaming the tissue as well and taking root?
Mm-hmm.
And so the next thing is mutated viruses inside that infection bullet of barriers to healing that is keeping people from reaching their max potential. People are walking around with stealth pathogens, viral infections that their body is, it's like, everybody buys their cell phones and their new computer and they love it on day one. But inside of a year or 2 years or 3 years, it's bogged down, it's slow, it's sluggish, and depending on the contraption you have, they teach you how to defrag it or clean it or take it in for some maintenance so that they can get all the junk and the cache off of it. And your body's the same way. If you look at these stealth pathogens, especially these viral mutations that we're seeing more and more of, they are literally like weights weighting us down day in and day out. And the more baggage we have, the harder it is to function well in our overall lifestyle productivity level. Energy to go to the gym, energy to get through the day. I mean, how many people today are looking for rocket fuel to get through their morning, much less their afternoon? You know what I mean? Everybody's looking for soda and cookies and candy of sorts to get through 3 o'clock drag. But many people were starting to see crashing around 10, 11, waiting, can't even make it to lunch. And, one of the worst cases I've ever seen of adrenal fatigue came in where a lady, she was a high-level executive and literally had to have a chauffeur drive her around, do all of her dailies so that she could just focus for 4 hours a day on her business in the morning. And at 10 o'clock, her body completely shut down. And literally we had to dose and rebuild her on 15-minute intervals, like getting different foods in and different supplements in to get her body healthy again. And now she's back in the game. She runs full days, and she doesn't have even the need for the extra help doing all the stuff. She's doing it all again, like she wants to be a grandma and a mom and
the important stuff
and an entrepreneur and just a real strong leader in the community. It's really powerful. And so I love seeing helping people be deburdened of these barriers to healing, because these barriers to healing is why you've tried everything and nothing seems to be working. And we want to be a different puzzle solver for you and help you kind of lay out why your body's not getting well and start moving you in a better direction.
Hey, here's a question that just got asked. This is from Bobby Miller. Good morning, Bobby. If you're watching on Facebook, feel free to ask some questions, and I'll get those asked and answered as time allows. So Bobby says, I was recently told that infused honey is the best way to intake medicine. Is this true? Have you heard of that?
Is honey a good way for medicine?
Like infused?
And so, like to infuse it, just like to...
I'm guessing maybe with the medicine. I don't know I remember here... Like a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. I remember that.
Well, so honey, and it's not, because of the richness that it has so many properties of health and well-being, and it's it can be very nutritive and good, healthy nutrition for the body. Infused with medicine, I don't know, because it depends on the honey. You got to make sure that the honey is a local honey and local to you. Like, getting a local honey from Seattle, it isn't necessarily going to be as beneficial as like Texas City honey. Yeah,
we got some clarification. He said CBD supplements.
Oh, okay. So like the value whenever you start in putting different herbs with honey would be that there's other nutrient factors and cofactors that are going to just make it better. So synergistically, CBD might have one effect on your body by itself. But when you mix it with fats, it's going to have, it's going to be able to get into the tissues a little deeper. If you mix it with even immune modulating, may say a bee propolis honey or cordyceps or some of the other factors that honey carries, it could have another layer of synergistic benefit to the body. So absolutely, I think it does. And because like echinacea by itself is amazing. Like I could take echinacea every day and be thankful and happy and delighted. But if I do echinacea with chaparral, with golden seal, I got an amazing anti-infective. And that's what we saw the other day when Dash was over there shooting those herbs. That was that stuff, and it tastes terrible, but it's so good for the immune system.
I miss Dash. Where is he at? I was wondering. I talked to my wife last night about guessing. I was like, I wonder if Dr. Chapa's going to bring one of his kids.
Well,
Dash came.
They have another event at 10, so I wasn't going to be able to bring them. There's a birthday party, and then one of the guys that they're bringing to the party is a strongman. So he can bend iron and metal and stuff like that. And
Dash is your son. He's 10 years old. Dash Chapa. Awesome name. That's strong. That's a strong name. But no, I've never seen anybody take supplements as readily, as easy.
I wasn't even asking him. He was just knocking it down.
He was like, "Yeah, beep, boop, boop."
He's proud of it.
It like tosses on me. I was like, "Let's go, Dash." If you can do it, it makes me feel like a wimp if I'm like wincing whenever I taste it. He's just like, "I like the way this one tastes."
Yeah, that's right. So, and I think that developing a bitter palate is, goes back to health and vitality. We've talked about that in past shows. But yes, so honey is make sure any honey that you have, make sure it's a local honey. Make sure it's a honey that is from your area, because local honey has more of an impact of health and vitality for you, because it has so many of our environmental pollutants that we need to build an immunity to.
Mm-hmm.
And so the last barrier the last kind of subcategory in the infectious burden category is parasites. And parasites are people are like, is that real? Do people really have parasites? And absolutely, people have bugs in their GI tract. And what is the goal and the desire of a parasite? And the goal and desire of parasites are to return our bodies back to dust. But what if you have an overgrowth of this little foreign invader? What if that little foreign invader is, taking root not just in your digestive tract, but because of the amount of acidity that your body is in a state of inflammation-wise. And so the more acidic we are, and that's a pH problem, that's going to stress out your body's protective barriers and allow you to be more susceptible to these things getting out of the GI tract and taking residence in muscle groups or in your brain or in your different aspects of your nervous system, in your different cascades in your elimination pathways like your lungs and kidneys. And we see people that have eczema and psoriasis, or I even met a guy yesterday with reactive arthritis, and basically it's these different autoimmune disorders could be one of the barriers to healing that contributes to it could be parasite pathogens that are hovering around and robbing your body of nutrients and causing and wreaking havoc on your immune system and confusing your nervous system to say, or your immune system to now attack healthy tissue because it can't differentiate the difference between good tissue and bad tissue. And parasites are, they're around. They're always going to be present. I don't think that we're ever going to kill them off. But we want the Bible says that we're to subdue the creepy crawly things, right? And so if we're to subdue them, that means we need to make sure that we're doing enough of the right things to make sure we have a body that can do just that. And whenever you have symptom patterns that you were not genetically born with, whether it is a diagnosable condition or just like seasonal allergies, that is not normal. Or cramps on a period, that's not normal. Like these are symptoms that you develop over time, and these are those check engine lights that that your body is potentially being subdued by one of these barriers to healing, and a lot of times it's infection. And so we do a lot of stuff with parasite work and fungal work and bacterial and viral immune programs. We build my favorite is the sequential immune upregulation program, where we come in and we monthly build up different aspects of your immune system to keep it robust and keep it strong, and so that it's always vigilant and alert and sharp and ready for action. And it's because you don't want to get caught with being unprepared. And by not being, if you're unprepared, it goes back to the old saying that nobody plans to fail, they just fail to plan. And so a part of what we're always after is teaching people to be ready. And that's why we don't want you just to, use the entire month of December as a cheat month. Strategically plan your week. Strategically get ready. Are you setting goals for the new year? What are you after? You know what I mean? So again, that's two of our major barriers to healing, and the first one being food. And we start with simple things like wheat, dairy, corn, and soy. The infectious burden is a little trickier. You almost have to be willing to be a patient and come in and let us evaluate and figure out, where are your glitches. We want to teach you this conversation of boosting and bolstering and building your immune system, because if it's got the vim, vigor, and vip that it needs in order to go after infection, you're not going to be stuck unprepared. You're always going to be on the up and up whenever you're exposed to this, that, and the other when the seasons change.
Coming into the office, would you test people's blood? Would some of the symptoms, or would you be doing blood work and to try and figure out some of the stuff?
So we do reflex testing in the office as well as blood testing, and then I every year I try to do different tests on myself that are that I'm not familiar with as much, and so one of the tests that I've been researching this year and doing a lot with is the ELISA test, and doing more of it, and so I'm about to do a 311 different foods and chemicals and dyes and sensitivities test, and see what type of what my body's immune system is reacting to. And but I don't do a ton of those tests because sometimes they're expensive, and so it scares people off. So we sometimes just start with what we know. We know the body is under distress, because if the average American's carrying 5 to 15 meals caked up inside of them, it's a burden to their system. So I can oftentimes just help them see in their food log, hey, these top 4 most common foods need to be eliminated. We need to support this aspect of your immune system based on these basic tests. And then whenever we want to start fine-tooth combing things and get a little bit deeper, we bring in some of these more outside tests, and they really help us, and they help patients to kind of just take it to the next level.
Yeah. So let's say somebody wanted to do this grand experiment where they removed wheat, dairy, grain, soy from their diet. Where could they find a group of people that were willing to do the exact same thing as soon as January?
Yeah.
Like when and where?
Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. We're open today, 281-554-8600. We have a tribe of people that come in our office, and we're always moving people towards a no-grain diet and moving people towards a non-inflammatory based diet, because people coming in that have symptoms that they were not genetically born with are inflamed. And so by helping them see these barriers to healing, remove these barriers to healing, and giving them an association, a tribe, if you will, of people to let them know that they're not on their own. I mean, like, people think that their condition is theirs and theirs alone and their burden to bear. But the reality is we all have a burden to bear to some degree. And going through the process with people and seeing other people getting the results that they're getting, I mean, we just encourage people, like, be a part of what Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center is doing. We have a detox coming up in the new year, which we're going to be talking about next week, and getting people just mindset ready, because, man, I have come to realize, detoxification is such an imperative point of reference in the 21st century healthcare plan. If you're not doing detox regularly, you're missing a huge piece of your healthcare plan.
So it starts January 13th. Ashley, with your office, mentioned that. January 13th.
January 13th.
The detox officially starts.
It's officially, yeah. So we have our kickoff class on the 7th, and we're going to be educating people to what is, I believe, detox. And Ashley, clarify that if I'm wrong, but I believe that's what I read on my own brochure. But I mean, the game is to educate you about what is this thing called detox, why are we going to be detoxing, and we want to make sure that if it's new to you, we want you to be as successful as possible. And we have been successful at taking thousands and thousands of people through this program. And so,
wow.
It's pretty rad.
January 7th is a Tuesday, and January 13th is a Monday. So y'all are going to be meeting up, sharing what the detox entails, making sure everybody's prepared. Because if you don't have a plan, it's going to be easy to fail.
It's easy to fail. That's right. And we want to make sure that people are rocking and ready. So going into this next barrier to healing, and this one's an obscure one. People just don't even realize that this could be a real issue, but it's scars, scars on the body. And so scarring on the body could come from a surgery. It could, believe it or not, could come from even tattoos. It could come from body piercings. And so there's all kinds of different, aspects of that scars kind of represent. And scars are a barrier to healing that people don't really understand much, and because they don't understand the nervous system, and that these scars actually act like resistors in the body, and they bind up energy, and then they actually start working on their own accord. Like, they don't really respond to the call and the directive of the higher neurological system.
I think I've heard you say that scarring and tattooing, like even down like the center,
The central meridian,
is
yeah.
probably not the best place, which I wish I'd have known this, I don't know, 10 years ago or so.
Right. And,
Right.
and so the game is to recognize, what do you do once you've got some of these burdens? Because I have patients that every time they get a new tattoo, it's 45 days of detox, because there's metals and chemicals in there. There's just the fact that you irritated the skin, is a definite issue. But that central meridian from the top, if you take your body from head to toe and you cut yourself in half, left and right, that central meridian is where that you're referencing as a very delicate area. And the belly button, for example, the tongue example. And when you have body piercings in these areas, they can short circuit the neurological communication between left and right and top to bottom. And these are an area that we can address. We use things like wheat germ oil or sesame seed oil orally and topically on these tissues to help neutralize the effect of these resistors building up neurological energy. And in some, like, I've had patients that have had breast cancer and whatnot, and they've had to do breast augmentation, and they have a lot of scarring in and around the breast tissue. Well, those scars are real close to the central meridian, so we have to do quite a bit of scar treatment therapy, laser therapy, in order to regulate the scars' effect neurologically on the body. And basically, every one of these barriers to healing has an effect on the nervous system. It confuses the nervous system, and the nervous system then has a hard time recognizing good and bad. And so if we can get the nervous system to not be burdened with these barriers to healing, whether food or infection, which we've talked about, and then, like in this case, the scarring, helping people realize, hey, that scar is a problem, and then helping them address it, they can start deburdening their body. Their nervous system kicks back on. I mean, I've seen thyroids get better just by applying wheat germ oil to a scar that was an episiotomy scar, from tearing in vaginal delivery. And so, I mean, it's wild to me what happens. The body has to be addressed at many different levels, and people need to be recognizing that they need a puzzle solver on their team, a resource that appreciates that anything can cause anything. Thank you, Alan Harper. He wrote a book called Anything Can Cause Anything. And one of the truths there is, I have never, ever been unwilling to try and help somebody no matter what they came in with, because I don't look at them as anxiety disorder. I don't look at them as a sleep problem. I don't look at them as a belly pain. I look at them as a whole human that has many different factors and possibilities that need to be addressed. And we're going to just go through these barriers to healing and start looking, hey, which one of these is your burden? And is there something that we can do to deburden the body and make it perform at a definite higher level? And so scarring is just one of those secret, like, tricks of the trade that if you've done this long enough, you know that it's a real possibility.
So here's a question. This is from Randy Brown, who said they are ready for the detox. They're ready for it to start. And speaking of food and food sensitivity, have you ever heard of Everlywell?
Everlywell.
They said it's a company like 23andMe, where you can kind of do some tests. And they said, what do you think, or have you ever had any experience with the Everlywell food sensitivity test at home? So I guess they send you a little packet. Maybe you do a swab, or I don't know, and then you send it off.
I'll look at it, because I mean, tell her to. Since you're listening, email me the link so I can look it up. And because I'm not familiar with it, I don't know if it's a genetics test or if it's a food allergy test or if it's an IgG test. Or, it's a big conversation. I have not heard of it, but I will definitely look into it. And I'm so fired up about the detox as well. So I can't wait to have you, join us this year. I mean, she's definitely she's one of my veteran detoxers, so she knows it, and we're gonna have some fun this year. Every detox that I've done, by the way, I learn something new about myself and my body, and I always get excited about what I'm going to learn new this year. I always say every detox I've ever done, I also find new food that I like. I'm kind of curious to know what new food might it be this time.
So the last detox I did, I found out that I really like meat. Because you miss it so much. You eliminate it from your diet. It's like, man,
yep.
I found out I really like meat. Like
Right.
even chicken. Like chicken's like the last one on. I'm like, I want the steak. Probably some pork, and then then the white meat chicken's like kind of at the end. But I was like, man, I even miss chicken.
That's right.
To be honest.
And so, no doubt, it is a definite. We all about day 14, 15. We're like, oh, how many more days of this we got? But no, this is again your success in staying with the tribe, and that's why we're going to have classes on. We're going to catch the Monday people, and we're going to catch because Monday, Wednesday, Friday people, and the Tuesday, Thursday people. We're going to have 2 classes a week going through the detox program, and teaching people.
Awesome.
And it's just going to be fired up. It's going to be amazing.
So if somebody's done a detox before, maybe they did the one last year, why should they do it again? Maybe they're like, well, I found out that I could do it.
Yeah.
Why is it important to continually do these detoxes?
Because every year you're exposed to environmental stuff, and nobody has got the perfect diet. And even if you did have the perfect diet, can you truly trust the mineral concentration of the grounds to give you all the nutrients that you're needing? And what we're finding is that's not so much the case. So just because you're buying organic spinach at the store doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting all the best nutrients from that one area. And so if you're exposed to it, let's say you have these barriers to healing, you've got infections in your body. These things are robbing the body, they're plaguing the body, and they're building up and accumulating in the body. And everything from the water we drink to the air we breathe to the food that we eat and the lifestyle that we operate in, we're exposed to a lot of toxin every year, all the time. And that accumulation over time is causing something called accelerated aging. So detoxification is one of those key players. And so me doing 40 detoxes doesn't absolve me from doing another detox like I've arrived of some sort. It just means I'm 40 detoxes ahead of most people. And so detox, again, must be a part of your conversation piece this year. It must be a conversation of your healthcare plan for the next 20 years, because it's going to be more and more apparent that this needs to be done, and that's why we lead people through this program.
Here's a comment. It says, it's from Ashley. She said, detoxing helps you feel amazing. And I asked, look amazing too? Because that is sometimes a motivation to people. Hey, it's a new year. It's
Weight
a new
loss,
decade.
motivation.
New decade, new me. It's a whole new decade. I got to make sure I started right. Is it going to help people look better as well?
I call it modeling. And basically what it looks like, you'll start seeing the physique come back. You'll start seeing the tonification process come back. Your face will start to de-age. And it's amazing that people that have been hard on their bodies over the years can start looking almost youthful and vibrant again. And they all say the same thing. About 10, 12 days in, they go, can I just live like this? I mean, is it possible just to live like this? Because I have energy that I had 20 years ago. I feel mentally clear, emotionally clear. And what's happening is you're giving your body a vacation from all the junk food that were exposed to the last 2 months.
Yeah.
And the last year, for that matter. And again, if I'm right, because it's possible that I'm completely wrong, but I doubt it on this topic. If the average American has 10 to 15 meals caked up inside of them, and I'm giving your body an opportunity to get that down to 3 meals caked up inside of them, then, because a meal should go through your body, like you should eat a meal and 18 hours later it should come out. I mean, that's how effective. That would be, I would actually say even slow. That would be at the top end. So between 12 and 18 hours should be about the transit time of most foods. And if most people are, I met a guy yesterday that isn't having a bowel movement but twice a week, and for the last 5 years has been on steroids to prevent swelling and reactive psoriatic arthritis to build up in his joints. And man, it's just a sad, this guy's been suffering needlessly. And he's been to rheumatologists, and he's been to doctors, and he's been to this person and that person, and no one has asked him the simple question: how many times do you have a bowel movement a day? Mm-hmm. He goes, I don't. I go, what do you mean? I literally stopped in my tracks, almost fell over, because I almost didn't ask him the question, because he wasn't there for nutrition. You understand? He was there for a structural problem with his shoulder, and his girlfriend got him in. And so I was like, sure, it wasn't an elongated visit, so I didn't really have a whole lot of time. But I realized in that moment, boom, this guy's got a story. We got to stop. So we took the time to figure out his case, and all of a sudden we gave this guy hope that he didn't have before, and it's all because of the digestive tract. So we're going to put him into a mini bowel cleanse and start repairing and getting that lazy colon to not be lazy anymore and to start cleaning house. And that in itself is another barrier to healing. And, we've got two more, and I know we're cutting it on time, but I want to just quickly hit these. Is this barrier to healing, because this falls right in line with this conversation of detoxification, is metals and chemicals. So we're going to put these two it kind of in the same category. Is when you have metals and chemicals that are built up in the body, these chemicals come from, again, our processed food nature. Every ingredient list that you see, we need to be getting back to a label that doesn't exist, on our food. Like, eat foods that don't have a label. And because when we drink food or drink drinks or eat foods that have processed labels, you can see all the ingredients and you can be like, wow, why do they have to put soy in that? Why do they got to put sugar in that? Why are they putting, FD&C color number 3 in there? Why are they putting thiamine mononitrate and all these different glue type substances that are fake nutrients? And when you start seeing that you're consuming these fake ingredients, make-believe food leads to what?
Make-believe health.
Make-believe health.
My wife also told me that. It maybe yesterday when we were talking about it, she's like, I wish you wouldn't say that. I was like, why? She said, because I think it hits close to home. I don't know if she's watching right now, but I mean, it's good. Like, Pop-Tarts are good. I grew up eating them, but it's not real
But
food.
It's not real food.
It's not real food, so it's just like cuts deep.
They have said and done studies and found that there's more nutrition in some of the cardboard boxes that these processed foods come in than the actual substrate that is called that we're buying. You know what I mean? And it's just a wild that if we're buying make-believe food, the best and only thing you can expect is make-believe health, and we want you to have real health. And because metals and chemicals could be anything from fillers in your teeth, could like mercury, for example, or silver or gold. These are big problems. Arsenic could be a big one. Aluminum in your underarm deodorant care products. We find that there are artificial chemicals in a lot of your toothpaste and women's makeup. There are so many cancer carcinogens in makeup, skincare lines that cause metal and chemical clogging of the tissues. And your body, if it can't get rid of these tissues, stores it in the brain, stores it in the joints, and stores it in fat cells. So now we know why people can't remember why they walk into a room. We know why their joints are hurting, and they have what we call arthritis, or what I like to call what? Arthrongus, because there's nothing rightus about it.
Right.
And so we want to help people like detox that stuff out of their body. And the people that can't lose weight and tried everything, it's because the body's not in a safe space to get rid of the waste.
Here's a question that's I think is pretty cool. So they said, hi, Aaron, do you know if the TRS COSEVA metals detox is safe? Have you heard of that one before?
I believe that is, and I'm not 100% sure, is that the metal-free product? And if it is, it's a homeopathic, product that does have a lot of benefit. And I think it's a spray, actually. And so homeopathic sprays work really great because you're not actually putting chemicals and metals into your body. What you're doing is you're putting a frequency of chemical and metal exposure into your body, which activates your immune system and your detox pathways to eliminate those particular metals. And I believe that particular one has a pretty good spectrum of metal and chemicals that can upregulate your body to detox that out. So like, for example, if I spray a mercury homeopathic in my mouth, I'm not putting mercury in my mouth, but I'm giving my body the illusion that mercury just came in. So my body's going to go, uh-oh, detox mercury. So it detoxes mercury that is in the deep cell structure of my body. And so detoxification, liver phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification that we really push for in the ultimate detox experience that we do at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center is designed to help pull out metals and chemicals out of the body. And when you get those metals and chemicals out of the body, it is a burden that you're not carrying. I always have a 24 kilo kettlebell in my treatment room, and people, ask me what it is for. And I say, oh, I want you to go pick that up. And they go pick it up and they go, ooh, that's heavy, because they see 24 and they think that it's 24 pounds. And so their mind is like shocked when it's like 50.
Yeah.
And then I said, all right, now, imagine carrying that around all day today. Like everywhere you go, everything you do, you got to carry that with you. And, everybody's seen the Christmas Carol, and when Mr. Marley comes back and warns Scrooge of the ghosts that are coming, he's got all these chains, heavy chains, and all this baggage of hanging on him, right? That's like the burdens and barriers to healing. And so we've talked about these 5 burdens and barriers to healing that prevent people from getting well. That's food, that's infection, and the infection classifies as bacterial, viral, parasitic, or fungal. And then we've got into metals and chemicals and scars. And we look at these different barriers to healing that if you've tried everything and you still feel like your body's just not moving forward, we want you to give us a call, 281-554-8600, and let us work with you through a process and see if we can't get you down the healthier primrose path better than you are now. And I'm just excited to that we were able to get on today and share, because I feel like again, education is everything, and giving people the right education often enough is just paramount in making good, healthy choices in the new year. And even though we're not at the new year yet, but the energy's rising. I can already feel the people are coming in yesterday. They're like, I can't wait for the detox. Can I just start today? And I'm like, yeah, you can. Just what are you doing next week? And they're like, oh yeah, I got this and I got that. So I'm like, it's just easier sometimes. But if your schedule allows you to start now and the iron skillet is ready, dude, hit it, go after it. Don't wait. Just because we're starting on the 7th, come in earlier. We'll get you set up and ready, because sometimes schedules don't allow you to start on the 13th. If your schedule allows you to start on the 7th or the 1st, come in, see Jennifer with you, see myself, and I mean we will get you onto this detox experience in a really robust, vibrant way, and you'll be blown away by how you feel going through that process.
So January 7th, 6:30 p.m. Is anybody invited?
Everybody's invited, right? So, and again, those first classes are information meetings. We're trying to get people to understand, like, all right, this is the nuts and bolts of what you're going to be doing on the detox. And then once we get into the classes on the 13th, we're going to be looking at the actual, like, going through education around the detox. So we're actually teaching you how to do the detox first, so that whenever you start and are on it, we can educate you about the conversation of detox, if that makes sense. So it's going to be a really fun experience. So, I hope everybody has a fantastic and wonderful New Year. Well, let's see. I guess we'll be back on before the New Year.
Well, New Year's Eve is next Tuesday.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's the 31st. Yeah.
So, I mean, what a interesting. It's gonna be fun.
It's an interesting time.
Yes, it is. So, everybody, God bless everyone. Have a fantastic and wonderful weekend. Today is Friday. It is a glorious, wonderful day. We all have breath. Everybody that's hearing, please share our video. Get this message out. Let people know that there is a solution to what their challenges in the healthcare department are, and we want to be a voice of encouragement and hope for people that are suffering with symptom patterns. At Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we offer solutions to all kinds of health challenges that people are dealing with. So no matter what you've got as a diagnosis, give us a call. Let us know, 281-554-8600. We want to hear your story. We want to help you get well, stay well, and be well one bite at a time. And we believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that if you haven't been to our office, you are missing an amazing, solution to good customer service, encouragement, education, and just an amazing opportunity to get well going into the 2020 new year. So God bless you. Have a fantastic day.
Yeah, this is 99.5 FM, KHEARadio.com. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy. Go download the KHEA Radio app, because you may just find something that you love in there, like this coupon to new patients at Living Well, where you can save some money. So the app is free. Search KHEA Radio on the Google Play Store or the the App Store if you have an iPhone, and then you click on member benefits. And if you're a new patient to go see Dr. Chapa, you can save a little bit of money from our free app. So search KHEA Radio. This is 99.5 FM. Y'all be blessed. All right. Bye, guys.
See you later. Good job, Gardy.